Prison's dumbest staff ever. Now, I've seen some staff members do some really dumb things, and I've got a long list of them. I'm going to do 10 of them today. And all of these people were gross with their moral and unethical and disruptive conduct. But they did it not only in a bad way to place everyone in danger within the prison system, but they did it in a dumb way. And I want to talk about that today. Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. I'm Gary York, True Prison Stories, and here's 10 of the dumbest corrupt staff members that I've dealt with, and some of the things they have done that got them caught. And what brought this topic up today is we just had an officer in Florida just recently, as a week ago, get caught smuggling cell phones, drugs, and cigarettes. And he is now charged with 28 counts of bribery and introduction and so forth. And he has a $420,000 bail up in Bradford County, Florida. And he got caught by walking into the prison entrance up in North Florida, and someone noticed on the surveillance camera a lot of cigarettes falling out of his pants leg. And that was a tip-off that something was wrong, and it led to his arrest and a smuggling ring that was going on. So to top off my first one is never give an inmate nude photographs of yourself. It's a dead giveaway. I have actually had cases here in Florida, and I'm not the only one that's had cases of this nature, and I'm sure it's happened in other states as well, where an officer falls in love with an inmate, and they either give the inmate a nude photo, which I've had 2 of those cases where they're totally nude and the inmate has the photo in their property, or they give them a beach photograph of them on the beach, or they give them a lingerie photograph of them in lingerie. Well, when you do that, you've just signed away your career and all your benefits, because eventually we're going to find out about it, and eventually during a cell search, if they're being conducted the way they should be, we're going to find a nude photograph of you. So how in the world do you think giving an inmate a nude photograph of yourself, or even in a bikini or even in lingerie, men or women, it goes both ways, we've had it both ways, how in the world do you think you're not going to get caught? That's one dumb way. Another one that I dealt with was a never date an inmate's wife or girlfriend, folks, from visitation. We've had a few cases here in Florida where officers are hitting on some of the visitors. Now, let me preface something here. These stories I'm telling you by no means have a reflection on our good, hard-working officers. This is a small percentage of dummies we're talking about today. They don't even deserve the name officer. So let me just get that out there right now. This was a colonel, and he had weekend duty. The way they worked it at the prison was about every 4th or 5th week you ended up with weekend duty. The warden had it, the assistant warden had it, the colonel had it, and the major had it. And they rotated, having weekend duty. And he would be at the visitation sign-ins and so forth, and he started chatting with this inmate's girlfriend. And he ended up meeting her, going out to dinner with her, driving to Tampa, Florida, where she was a nurse at the hospital, and seeing her. And of course, as time always does, the inmate got word of it, and he reported it promptly, and I was assigned the investigation. Well, not a hard investigation. You go interview the inmate, but that's not going to be enough, just the inmate's word. So you drive to Tampa, and you catch the nurse on break at the hospital, and you interview her in the cafeteria, and she gives you the full sworn affidavit of their dates and outings and so forth. So, folks, the colonel was demoted to lieutenant and shipped to another prison. He did not lose his job. She had no criminal record whatsoever. She had a great job as a nurse, of course, at the hospital, but don't deal with family members of inmates. It's against the rules here in Florida, and it cost him a demotion. He was about a year away from retirement. He made it out, folks. He got his retirement, even after dating an inmate's girlfriend. Okay, so that's another one. Having beach parties with inmates, former inmates, not a good idea, especially when you have a ton of pictures of 5 former inmates from Polk Correctional Institution lifting you up in your bikini and carrying you around on the beach and throwing you from one inmate to another, and they're catching you and they're laughing and they're having a great time, and you leave them in your car and you're suspected of some illegal activity. So when I have an investigation, I ask the officer to sign a form allowing me to search her vehicle that is on state property. And even though under Florida Statute 944.47 it says that any vehicle on state property is subject to search, we still like to get that form signed. If they don't want to sign the form, that's fine. We'll still find a way to search the car. We'll get a canine over there and see if anything happens, or we'll talk to our legal people in Tallahassee, our attorneys for the department. But anyway, long story short, she signed the form because she knew she had no drugs in there. She had nothing, no guns, drugs, ammo, none of that type of stuff. But what she forgot about was she had a box of photos. And I'm going through these photos and I see these 5 men throwing her around. But it really starts to make me wonder who these men are. So we take the photos up to the administrative building, and I get a couple of administrative sergeants and administrative lieutenant who work Monday through Friday on the admin shift. They know a lot of people. They know a lot of the inmates from site. And sure enough, they say, that's inmate so-and-so, and that's former inmate so-and-so. And I checked on these 5 gentlemen that are throwing her around at the beach, and 3 of them are on felony probation. So you are having a personal relationship with an offender. Not a good idea to have beach parties with 5 ex-felons. Just not the best thing to do. You'll get caught eventually. She thought probably they're out of prison now and they'll never find out about it. And things work in mysterious ways, folks. When you're doing something wrong, it'll catch up to you sooner or later. Another one is letting an inmate use your cell phone to call their family. We had a sergeant who allowed an inmate to use this personal cell phone in the laundry room to call his children and talk to them. And eventually there became a rumor of a relationship between the sergeant and the inmate, and I got the case. And it's another whole long story, but to make it short, we subpoenaed the sergeant's phone records, found these out-of-town phone numbers on the phone records, matched them to the inmate's family, went and spoke to the family, and sure enough, it was the inmate's family. The sergeant resigned. Not a good idea to let him use your personal cell phone. Another case that I had is buying a cell phone for an inmate and smuggling it into the prison. Not the greatest idea in the world to buy the cell phone with your name, driver's license, whatever, all your information on the phone, because it's going to come back to you when we find it. The inmate had the phone on the compound for a while. It was finally discovered through an officer's good searching techniques, and very simple. Phone came back to an officer that worked at the prison. Just some real dumb criminal things going on, from people that work at the prison sometimes. Again, they do not reflect on the honest, hard-working staff members. I cannot reiterate that enough. How about setting up a P.O. box number in your name so the inmate can write you letters and nobody will know about it because it's to a P.O. box number in your name? Well, inmates tend to write down things, P.O. box numbers, and they put them in their property. They tend to write letters that are unfinished, and they have envelopes addressed to that P.O. box number. And then we get the inmate for doing something wrong, and we search his property, and we find these P.O. box numbers. Well, we're going to check out these P.O. box numbers. And lo and behold, it's going to come back to you, and now you have yourself a lot of trouble to deal with. So, very dumb things that go on, and they will continue to go on, folks. We're going to have people that want to work in corrections, whether they're in civilian clothes, whether they're in the medical department, in the dental department, or whether they wear the correction officer uniform. We're still going to have those few bad apples that filter through and do these dumb things. Okay? Another case, how about accepting cashier's checks from an inmate's family so that you can smuggle them in Royal Crown whiskey and steak dinners, and you get $500 a month. The only thing is, the family meets you once a month, and they give you a $500 cashier's check. That way, when you stop bringing the Royal Crown whiskey and the steak dinners once a week to the inmate, he can turn you in. And yes, I get the case, I meet the inmate, I meet the family member, they give me all the copies of the cashier's checks. Bada bing, bada boom, it's done and it's over. These are very dumb correctional staff criminals, folks. And they don't need to be in the business. They don't need to jeopardize our safety. And we need to get rid of them. And one thing, I've just gave you a few things, okay? I love to hear your stories, whatever you have and whatever you've experienced. But I've had this in my video a few times. The reason I keep this rattlesnake here, the rattlesnakes are out to get you. And those of you officers who think you're doing inmates favors, and you're trusting and believing the inmates love you, the inmates are your friend, you're the dumbest of all. Because all they're doing is setting you up for the fatal bite. And they will get you. And they will turn you in the moment you stop doing things for them, or the moment you tell them it's over. They're going to turn you in. They're going to give us all the evidence. It happens every time, over and over and over. But yet, just like last week, bam, there it is in the news. Officers smuggling all these things in for inmates. Drugs, cell phones, cigarettes, and so forth. And of course, he walks around with so many cigarettes that he's smuggling in, they're falling out of his pants legs. So, you know, this is just sickening. So all you folks out there, all you honest, hard-working officers and prison staff members, you see these folks, you see them when they slip up, report them, let's get them out. They're jeopardizing all of our safety. Just a few of my dumbest staff ever. And there's many, many more. I could probably do 30 right now. I just wanted to give you 10 examples of dumb criminal staff members. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.